Daniel Harold Rowling was born on May 26, 1954, in Shreveport, Louisiana. From early childhood, his life was marked by violence and instability. His father, James Rowling, was a police officer and military veteran who allegedly suffered from mental illness and was physically abusive toward both Daniel and his mother. Daniel's upbringing was described by those who knew him as cruel and isolating. As a teenager, he struggled in school and displayed signs of psychological trauma. He was arrested multiple times for petty crimes and began exhibiting erratic and violent behavior. In 1971, Rowling joined the US Air Force but was discharged less than a year later for drug use. He drifted through various jobs, including being a waiter and a part-time musician, but couldn't hold employment long due to his worsening mental state. By the late 1980s, he was already showing signs of becoming extremely dangerous. In 1989, while living in Shreveport, Louisiana, Rowling committed a triple homicide. He broke into the home of the Grissom family and murdered 55-year-old William, his 24-year-old daughter Julie, and 8-year-old grandson Sean. Authorities at the time had no suspect in the case, but Rowling would later confess to it. In May 1990, Rowling shot his own father in the stomach and head during a violent altercation. His father survived, but was left with permanent injuries. After the shooting, Rowling fled Louisiana and began drifting through the southern United States. By August 1990, he had arrived in Gainesville, Florida. He lived in a wooded area near the University of Florida, camping out and observing local homes. He had gathered weapons, tools, duct tape, gloves, and a ski mask, preparing for a series of violent attacks. He chose young college students as his targets. On August 24, 1990, Rowling broke into the apartment of Sonia Larson and Christina Powell, two freshmen at the University of Florida. He found Sonia asleep upstairs and stabbed her to death. He then sexually assaulted and killed Christina downstairs. After both murders, he returned to Sonia's body and sexually assaulted it post-mortem. He posed both victims in provocative positions, cleaned the scene, and left the apartment. Less than 24 hours later, on August 25th, he broke into the home of Krista Hoyt, a Santa Fe Community College student. Rowling waited inside until Hoyt returned home. He ambushed her, restrained and raped her, then stabbed her to death. He returned to the scene hours later and decapitated her body. On August 27th, Rowling entered another student apartment, this time shared by Tracy Pauls and Manuel Taboada. Manuel, a physically strong former high school athlete, fought back, but Rowling fatally stabbed him after a struggle. He then attacked Tracy, raped her, and stabbed her to death. Unlike the previous murders, he did not mutilate or pose the bodies. The killings caused widespread panic in Gainesville. Students left campus, parents pulled their children out of school, and residents began arming themselves and taking extra precautions. Local and state police, along with the FBI, began a manhunt for the unknown killer. Authorities initially arrested Edward Lewis Humphrey, a local student with a history of mental illness and erratic behavior. Though there was no concrete evidence against him, Humphrey's odd behavior and facial scars made him a visible and convenient suspect. He was held for months, but was eventually cleared of involvement. Meanwhile, Rowling had been arrested on September 7, 1990, in Ocala, Florida, for robbing a Winn-Dixie supermarket. Police searched the campsite he had been living in near the Gainesville crime scenes. They discovered several items that linked him to the murders, including duct tape matching the type used at the crime scenes, tools, a gun, and audio diaries where he alluded to violent fantasies and referred to an alter ego he called Gemini. While in custody, Rowling confessed to fellow inmates about the Gainesville murders. He gave detailed descriptions of the crimes, which were consistent with crime scene evidence. DNA testing linked him directly to the crime scenes through semen samples. He was officially charged with 5 counts of first-degree murder in November 1991. In 1994, rather than go through a lengthy trial, Rowling pleaded guilty to all 5 murders. During sentencing, prosecutors presented detailed forensic and psychological evidence, including Rowling's confession, crime scene photos, and expert testimony describing him as a sadistic and highly dangerous individual. Rowling was sentenced to death. While on death row, Rowling also confessed to the 1989 murders of the Grissom family in Shreveport. Authorities in Louisiana accepted his confession and closed the case. Rowling remained on death row for more than a decade. He continued to maintain that an alternate personality, Gemini, had driven him to kill, a detail likely lifted from the horror movie The Exorcist The Foe. On October the 25th, 2006, he was executed by lethal injection at Florida State Prison. Before the injection was administered, he sang a religious hymn. His execution was witnessed by family members of his victims, law enforcement officers, and the media. Daniel Rawlings' crimes had a lasting impact on Gainesville. The murders are still remembered as one of the darkest chapters in the city's history. Memorials were established to honor the victims, and the events led to increased security measures on college campuses throughout Florida. The case gained further notoriety when screenwriter Kevin Williamson cited Rawlings' killing spree as the inspiration for the 1996 horror film Scream, which went on to become a major cultural phenomenon.